Hi, it's Mark from Top Local. I'm here with Darrell Ross. Darrell's a business coach in Vancouver, and we're going to talk about the necessity of belonging, connections, and community in this time that we're in right now. How you doing, Darrell?
I'm well, thanks. How about yourself?
Good. So, of course, we're in the land of COVID, seems like the never-ending land of COVID, and it certainly can go on for quite a while yet. Notwithstanding all the miracles of vaccines that might be rapidly coming, it'll take a while to vaccinate a few billion people to actually be effective. Why do you feel like there's some necessity or importance about connecting with other people right now?
Very important time to connect and have the ability to reach out to, trusted people. And I think even if people are connecting on Zoom meetings, et cetera, for their business, and that might be going well, and there could have been a good transition, I think there's still a lack of connection for people and that belonging to something outside of themselves and being in a group outside. I had an analogy when you're in high school, wherever you're on a sports team, and you're going regularly, and you see over time how that team bonds and how, because you're part of the group, you're more accountable. You're going to do your exercises between the weekly practices and that sort of thing. You're going to bring your A game when you need to bring your A game. And so how are people doing that now? I think it's very important for people to find something to connect to get that sense of belonging and build in that accountability, and then also have peer support from other people. What does that look like, and how are people going to find that in these interesting times? And really, this is it, right? You and I are connecting over Zoom. We're in two different places. The reality is those live groups are still not really a viable option at this time. What's out there for people? That's what I'm encouraging people to think about.
Yeah, so definitely the value of peer support is something that I'm missing. I mean, I was a member of a networking group for quite a few years. So the value of connecting with other people who are actually dealing with the same stuff you are in a small business. Regular folks who have a job just don't get the kind of stress level that you have when you're doing your own thing, or you have staff that you've got to make sure that their lives are looked after. If you can share that with another person who's in the same boat, maybe at totally different levels, it really gives you a sense of connection, and you're not all alone that you don't normally get day to day when you don't have that connection. Do you feel like Zoom meeting type things where you're meeting with like-minded people or like situationally likewise people is still valuable?
Yeah, 100%. People have to be committed to making that experience as good as possible. However, you're still finding those examples where people are able to make that connection and see that support, feel that peer-to-peer experience. For example, I was on a coaching call yesterday. This group has been together for about 6 weeks, and I've noticed a change as we've gotten to get to know each other and also understand each other's businesses. The level of accountability has gone up. The problems that people are sharing are deeper, right? And so you're getting to the real stuff as opposed to the fluffy stuff that we keep on the surface. We're also having more fun, which is really key. I mean, I remember, back from my BNI days, I don't know if it was Ivan Meisner saying that he might have come from some football coach or something. He always said you have to keep the fun in the fundamentals, right? So unless these Zoom meetings and gatherings are also fun and somewhat entertaining, how are you going to continue to engage people? So that's really important. And I know I'm also involved with a company called Corporate Connections, managing director for BC. And that's where we're connecting leaders and empowering them to create opportunities and meaningful change in their organizations' lives and communities. And it's all happening on Zoom right now. And it's incredible. Members around the world are creating opportunities for each other, seeing that peer-to-peer support. There are avenues out there for people to explore and really continue to make those valuable connections that we all need as human beings.
So there's a value in that kind of group connectivity, whether it's joining a meetup group of like-minded people, or whether it's a more organized thing, like you were saying, like perhaps some sort of networking situation, or the corporate connection thing, which is a whole higher level type of thing. But what about just having a Zoom coffee, something we've talked about before? Not something I've done yet. I talk to a lot of people each week already doing these. Is that something that you're still pursuing, talking to people on Zoom just for the sake of connecting with somebody who you haven't connected with for a while?
Yes, and actually now that's part of my standard. I connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn, and the idea of, the social media, the goal of social media is to get off social media, right? So when I reached a point with someone where I think it would be beneficial to, meet for a coffee or have a phone call, I'll say, do you want to have a quick 15-minute phone call or Zoom? So I throw it in there right away, and a lot of people are opting for the Zoom. We're not necessarily calling it a Zoom coffee, but there's certainly a different level of connection that you can get when you can see someone, for sure. And those are more fun, I think. Recently, I don't know if you knew this about me, but I was a page in the House of Commons when I was in university. 30 some odd years ago, whatever that was. The group that there were 40 of us, each year, and there was a reunion last year that I wasn't able to go to. So we did a virtual reunion this year, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was fantastic. It was amazing. We did it on Zoom. We scheduled it on a Sunday afternoon, and we had, out of the 40, I think we had 22 people. We're all a little bit grayer, a little heavier, but anyway, it was awesome. There was a ton of fun. People popped in and out, and we did the breakout rooms. Certainly not as good as traveling to Ottawa and reliving some of the moments and being in the same room with each other. But as we were saying, that's just not practical right now. We have to be vigilant and careful. So there are other ways.
Yeah. So the value of belonging to something, I think, is you get out what you put in. That was always the basic message in any kind of networking thing I was in. You've done a lot of that, decades worth of that stuff. Is that sort of the basic message there?
That is true as well. Yeah. What I would say in any groups that I've been involved with, I think for the first few months of COVID, people were still optimistic that it was going to end soon. And so I don't think people were putting in as much as they needed to. The shift that I'm seeing now is that people are putting more energy in and trying to make the Zoom meetings more interactive and innovative, and finding other ways so you have to maximize what you've got. You're saying this is what we have right now, and that's not changing anytime soon, really. Who really knows? But this is it for now. So put in what you can.
Exactly. And we need the value of connecting, the value of belonging, the value of community, of reaching out to the people who are around you, who you would normally be connecting with, perhaps, whether it's your chamber of commerce or your networking groups or just the friends that you haven't connected with because you haven't seen them. Talk to them, reach out. Yeah. Basically, exactly. That's the message.
Reach out. Yeah. 100%.
So there you go. Reach out. Get off your butt. Call some folks. Talk to them today.
Yeah.
And if you need some coaching in Vancouver, the guy will tell it to you straight. Darrell Ross. You can reach him at 604-218-4702. He's a small business coach in Vancouver. Check out his website, morebusinessmorelifenow.com, or you can email him, Darrell at morebusinessmorelifenow. Thanks, Darrell.
Thanks, Mark.